outside is howling. And this afternoon at the Garden, the Knicks will try and keep the Wolves from doing the same. Welcome to Madison Square Garden in New York on a snowy day in the greater metropolitan area. Conditions the Minnesota Timberwolves can certainly relate to as the Knicks and the T-Wolves meet for the first time this season. Minnesota with a record of 12 up and 22 down. The Timberwolves have dropped their last 2 and they have lost 4 of their last 6. While the Knicks come in at 24-9. They lead the Atlantic Division. They come off the home-and-home sweep of the Detroit Pistons. Hi, everybody. I'm Marv Albert, along with John Andres. Well, the Knicks have won 4 in a row. They have won 6 of the last 7. And in the victory here against the Pistons on Saturday afternoon, the Knicks saw the best of Derek Harper. It looks like Derek is beginning to settle in, get comfortable with the situation.
Yes, he was a pleasure to watch the other day for Pat Riley and the Knicks, Marv. Mid to late third quarter, he came in, he stayed the rest of the way, and the direction of the game went along with his fine playing. Charging down the middle on a beautiful drive. He looked like Marcus Allen on that swivel hip move. And then with room from Isiah Thomas, he hit the jumper. And then later on in the game, with very little room that preceded good ball movement, however, Harper hit that jump shot. A very impressive 29-minute display to go along with 18 points, 6 out of 11 from the field, a couple of assists, and good solid defense. So Harper is getting comfortable, and the Knicks couldn't be happier.
And the Minnesota Timberwolves have been going very well as of late, and they had been doing it without their leading scorer. Christian Laettner had been out for 4 games with a sprained left hip, but now Laettner is back, but he's coming off the bench.
Yes, Christian Laettner is really developing into a big-time player. He landed in the league very strongly. And Marv, there's a suspicion, I just heard a moment ago, that he might be starting in this game. One of the assistant coaches indicated that. If he does, that'll be a problem for the Knicks. He's got the complete game. And along with the complete game comes his high scoring, just about 18 a game. Not shooting as well as last year at 43%, but still tough from all over. 9 rebounds, and also an excellent passer. One of the better passing forwards in the NBA, now in only his 2nd year.
All right, so coming up here at the Garden, a matinee special on Martin Luther King Day. It will be the Knicks going up against the exciting rookie Isiah Ryder and the Timberwolves. Back at the Garden, New York Knicks and the Minnesota Timberwolves about to get together. First of 2 meetings this season. Knicks have taken the last 4 over Minnesota. Last year, however, the game played here at the Garden. Not an easy one for the Knicks. Last February, 95-91 win. Minnesota, coming from way back, down by as many as 16 in the 4th quarter, made it close at the end. And we are set now for the introduction of the Hurts starting lineups.
Timberwolves and your New York Knicks. Here today's starting lineups. First for Minnesota. At guard, at 6'2" from Baylor, number 24, Michael Williams. At guard, at 6'5" from UNLV, number 34, Isiah Ryder. At forward, at 6'6" from Villanova, number 5, Doug West. At forward, at 6'11" from Duke, number 32, Christian Laettner. And at center, at 7'2" from New Mexico, number 13, Luke Longley. The trainer is Jay Jensen. Assistant coaches Bob Weinauer, Jim Brewer, and Chuck Davison. And the head coach, Sidney Lowe. 6'9" from Oklahoma State, number 3, John Starks. At guard at 6'2" from UNLV, number 50, Greg Anthony. At forward at 6'8" from St. Louis, number 4, Anthony Bonner. At forward at 6'9" from Virginia Union, number 34, co-captain Charles Oakley. And at center at 7 feet from Georgetown, number 33, co-captain Patrick Ewing. The head trainer is Mike Saunders, the assistant trainer Tim Walsh, assistant coaches Dick Carter and Jeff Van Gundy, and the head coach of the Knicks, Pat Riley.
Well, Christian Laettner, as John indicated, is in the starting lineup after coming off the bench the last 2 games. Timberwolves have played very well recently. 4 wins the last 6 games. They've won the last 2 victories over Dallas and Friday night over Orlando. And earlier we talked about the T-Wolves' good play as of late with their coach, Sidney Lowe.
We're high right now. You know, we're playing well. We're playing good basketball. Our last 8 ball games, we played real well. Had some big wins. The guys are very confident, and I think they can start to see the gelling coming together with the players. Guys coming off the bench doing a great job. Tellus Frank has done a great job filling in for Christian when he was out injured. Chuck Person is playing well for us coming off the bench, as well as Thurl Bailey and Chris Smith.
Well, most of very great importance, however, is that win against Orlando on Friday night. What a lift that had to give this team, and they're rested and ready for their New York once-a-year demonstration, Marv.
Well, in that game on Friday night, a 96-92 win over Orlando at the Target Center in Minneapolis. Michael Williams had a big game, 18 points, 12 assists. Chuck Person off the bench hit 7 of 9 for 17 points. So the Knicks control the opening tip. An illegal defense called immediately on Minnesota. They got caught with the 6'6" Doug West guarding Patrick Ewing down low. The Timberwolves are 13 games ahead of last year's pace when they won a total of 19 games. They went 19-63. Right now they're 12 up and 22 down.
Interesting matchup right away with Christian Laettner, tall and thin, against the muscular Charles Oakley. Maybe Laettner's headband will help him, Omar. That's a new look.
Starks with a nice move to get things going. John Starks on Saturday had a 7 of 21 game in 41 minutes against Detroit. Led the way with 7 assists. This is Ryder, who is a very powerful guy. He can back his defender in. He tried to do that with Starks. Michael Williams, played by Greg Anthony, deflected away. Greg Anthony all over the newspapers today. I don't think that he's pleased about it, because Pat Riley was not pleased about his reaction after Greg played very well against Detroit in the first half, and then Derek Harper came on and had a terrific game. Ryder rejected by Ewing.
Well, I should hope Greg isn't pleased about the sudden fame over the last day or so, because he was reflecting his own interests and not those of the Knicks as a team.
Luke Longley called for the foul. Well, Greg saying, I want to be in New York, but sometimes maybe you're not wanted. It seems like when the trade for Derek Harper was made, it made you all happy, the organization, the coaches. So maybe that is the direction that things are headed. And went on to say, the point is, what's my future? In this league, labels tend to stick. If you're labeled basically as a backup or splitting time, that can hinder you. Now, that is all true in terms of what he is saying, but that's not what the coach, as Patrick Ewing hits on both foul shots, that's not what the coach wants to hear, because it is a team situation and you do not go public with thoughts about your own situation, because it becomes selfish. Here's West, rebounded by Ewing.
It's rare that Pat Riley speaks out so against a player's feelings as he did against Greg. And Marv, it only suggests that when the opportunity comes up, Greg will be gone. I mean, I really think that, because this is one thing that this man won't stand for, any individuality. And Greg has played well enough, certainly. It's ironic, because I guess he's feeling his oats. It's ironic that he would reflect those individual feelings as John Starks shows the nice touch.
You know what happened, John? It's not like Greg is standing on a podium and saying, hey, come to me and I want to say these things. He was asked after the game by reporters his feelings about what Harper did, particularly after Greg played so well in the first half. And Greg has been playing well recently, but he should have kept it all within.
He also reflected it, Marv, after the game that he was out of here kind of attitude. He went sour after the game, in which Harper was terrific and the Knicks played very well under his direction. So it was an advertised, quite clearly, response that he had.
Isiah Ryder with the off-balance shot, and the Knicks now lead 6-2. Well, I don't think there's any question that the Knicks were trying to make a deal involving Greg Anthony right throughout the summer, you know, right through. Won't count traveling violation is called, although the Knicks will deny it, and you have to, because you want the guy to perform for you. Here's Pat Riley's reaction. He says if Greg Anthony is foolish enough to talk that way, then it's a very selfish way to talk. It's about winning and winning only. I talked to him yesterday. He said there will not be a point guard controversy, and that's it. Here's Longley. No, there will not be one, because eventually I would think Derek Harper will take over.
Well, just to close it out, Mark, for Greg's own interest, he's been playing so well that there will be a job for him, if it's not with the Knicks, with someone else, because he has shown that he can play at a nice, very good level in the NBA, as he has gotten into a fine groove of late.
Absolutely. He has built up his value in terms of his future. But you never know what will happen, because as Starks hits, guys get hurt. And you don't know what will happen in terms of injury and situations that do develop in a long season. Doug West will go to the foul line. Patrick Ewing is called for the foul. Doug West, a man who did face Patrick Ewing in his Big East days at Villanova. He's been playing a lot of forward recently instead of big guard. That because of the injury suffered by Christian Laettner. And the other Timberwolf who has been starting up front is Tellis Frank. Name out of the past. Played a bit with Golden State. Saw some action with Miami. Spent last year in the Italian League. And Tellis will be coming off the bench this afternoon, but he's played well.
And part of that development by Frank has enabled Chuck Person, a name well known and respected around the league, to come off the bench as the sixth man, where he has been doing a terrific job. And most of all, happy coming off the bench, because we want those players happy more.
Leg block was called, so the Knicks got the new 24. Here is Anthony. So Greg Anthony hits the side angle jump to give the Knicks a 10-5 lead. Michael Williams, played by Greg Anthony. Ryder and Williams at the guards. Longley, West, and Laettner up front. Ryder gets inside and draws the foul. Isiah Ryder, previously known as J.R. Ryder, out of UNLV, a first-round draft pick, the 5th selection overall in the draft. And last year averaged 29 per game. He was second in the nation in scoring.
Are you going to stay with Isiah today?
I am. I've made that decision.
Okay.
The thought process on that began last night.
All right. I may have to go JR, so we'll work it out. Or do I have to key off?
Well, for marketing purposes, JR is more effective, but he wants to be known by Isiah.
But I'm a marketing guy, Mark.
So
I may have to stay with JR.
You're saying even though he wants to be called Isiah, you, in a stubborn move, are staying with JR.
For him, no. I'm just helping his career.
Do you differentiate for religious purposes? You don't say Chris Jackson. Now, why don't you stay with Chris Jackson?
Well, because both of these names are on the scorecard today.
I beg your pardon?
Isiah and JR.
I see. All right. Okay. The Knicks with a 10-6 lead. And here is Bonner. Well, a rare outside successful field goal by Anthony Bonner. The Knicks 12 and the Timberwolves 6.
Marv, a voice from heaven just came down and told me that J.R. Isiah Ryder prefers to be called, he announced that at the draft, actually, that he would prefer to be called Isiah.
Yes.
So, just try and pay attention to that voice.
A voice from heaven.
As opposed to your voice.
The Knicks 12 and Minnesota 8. Ewing with the jump hook. And the Knicks now lead by 6. Nice play from behind. Anthony batting it away. And the Timberwolves will throw in. The Knicks have won the last 4 meetings against Minnesota. The last loss to the Timberwolves back in January of 91. All time, the Knicks have won 6 of 8 against Minnesota. Again, Ryder backing into the fadeaway.
Starks did some job on him.
Starks in the open floor, challenging Leitner. Went to the left hand, then it's tipped off. So Bonner with the tip, and the Knicks with a 16-8 lead.
Boy, a most unusual tip, because that started below the rim, and it still went over the rim due to the strength of Bonner.
Timeout taken by the Timberwolves.
John Starks made Ryder take a very difficult shot. Then John leads the breakdown court, stays with it, up and over Leitner, but Bonner comes in and pounds that ball down rather gingerly.
Christian Leitner has not seen much of the basketball here in the early going. As West was deflected short, and back comes Bonner. Starks wide open. Yes. The Knicks 18, the Timberwolves 8. West gets down court and goes all the way. Doug West has good speed, and he was able to fly the length of the court.
Now at the defensive end for the Timberwolves, this is going to be a problem unless they get on Starks much tighter. He's had open jump shots and has been making them. That's the problem for a rookie like Ryder. Hasn't really seen John Starks until today. The scouting report can say all at once, but until you feel a guy's game, sometimes you don't really respect that jump shot.
Timberwolves doubling up on Ewing. Michael Williams came up with a steal. Michael Williams usually among the leaders in that department. Very quick hands. Nice move on a crossover, but Anthony able to recover. Longley gets inside. That because of the switch. Ewing came out to face Leitner.
Leitner's unselfishness in passing here in the opening minutes is noteworthy.
Starks on a quick release. That was a 3-point attempt. Here's Bonner. Rebounded by West. Starks did not go for the ball fake by Ryder. 5:20 remaining in this first quarter. Oakley with the steal. And a bad pass, a floater tossed out that was intercepted by Williams. Bonner gets it back, trying to save it, but he stepped out. The indication by Hank Armstrong, working this afternoon's game along with Ronnie Mott. Leitner for Longley. That was an attempted shot. And the Knicks get it back. Anthony had it knocked away. And he was fouled. Michael Williams called for the foul. And here is Chuck Person coming on, replacing Doug West. West leaves 2 of 4 from the line, 5 points. So Chuck Person coming off the bench these days and had a good one the other night in the victory over Orlando.
Chuck Person has found an identity here finally in his career after Indiana, and he is now the dangerous man coming off the bench for the Timberwolves. He's fit into the role comfortably. He's adopted the role. He accepts it, and he's been quite productive. And you know, he's with the emergence of the sixth man identity over the years in the NBA, becomes a very important contributor.
Greg Anthony has been doing the job at the line. He's now 15 for his last 19. Longley off a nice setup and foul. Michael Williams with a pretty lead pass. Anthony Bonner called for the foul.
Now Longley at 7'2". Look at that beautiful dribble where Williams splits the defense. I mean, a 7'2" guy, a short dunk. No, because Bonner decided to go up and challenge him. And Bonner at 6'8", 6 inches shorter than this guy, managed to deny him that stuff.
Luke Longley out of Melbourne, Australia. Member of the Australian Olympic team in 1988 and 1992. There have been doubts about his intensity. That is usually the rap against players out of the States. Many international players have been called on that point. Here's Anthony. Anthony saw the opening and took advantage, and Greg able to get it back. Nice pass off the dribble. Longley got a piece of it, stopping Ewing. Person. So the ball over the backboard goes back to the Knicks. You know, Kevin McHale, who has been working as a television color commentator with the Timberwolves and also is with the organization, has been working with Longley trying to improve the offensive moves. But even though he's in the starting lineup, we're looking at a guy who is a long-term project. Starks, that's two-point range. Ewing with the rebound. Williams again knocking it away. Oakley with a bad decision. Oakley going behind the back in close, and Ryder is fouled.
A couple of bad plays by Charles passing that ball. He can get sloppy with the basketball. Longley, Mark, the guy you were just mentioning, though, has been coming on. He's had some very fine outings this season. In fact, in 4 of the last 7 games, he has averaged double-doubles, meaning double-figure points and rebounds in a single game for the last 7. So he's coming on.
Bonner called for the foul. Isiah Ryder averaging 14.7 points per game. And Mark Wilkins, he is third behind Jamal Mashburn of Dallas, Chris Webber of Golden State. Anthony Mason is greeted as he comes on for the first time.
Pretty impressive numbers for Ryder. He's only playing 28 minutes a game on the average this season, so those are pretty big numbers.
The Knicks 22 and the Timberwolves 16. Greg Anthony making his 15th consecutive start. Anthony and Starks at the guards. Ewing, Mason, Oakley up front. Jim Kinsey with the call, a block on Person. Now the Knicks take a timeout. 3:32 remaining in the first quarter. Because John will be part of a panel discussion on an upcoming Maury show. The subject, men who understand the salary cap and the women who love them. Patrick Ewing extends to an 8-point Knicks lead with 3:20 remaining in this first quarter.
I'm going to recommend Knicks Business Affairs gentleman Frank Murphy for that job.
Oh, I see.
You got up early today, didn't you?
Off the steal, the Knicks setting it up. Something that just rolls right off, John. Nice move by Oakley. And the Knicks now lead by 10.
Equally nice pass by John Starks.
Anthony with the steal, beating Starks. Beautiful play by Greg Anthony. And the Knicks now lead 28-16.
Oh, that's just a terrific play. Just like in the first quarter the other day against Detroit, Anthony was terrific, as he is here now.
Leitner one-on-one with Oakley. And that off the foot of Gary Christian. Leitner yet to take a shot. Here's Jared Hopper. for Greg Anthony. Anthony played very well. Hit 2 of 2 from the field. 6 points, couple of steals.
Greg looking for the end of the bench. He doesn't want to be up there with the coaches. Asking somebody to shove down.
This size Ryder gets in. Is something you can relate to playing days?
Absolutely. No, actually, it would be uncomfortable for him to sit between 2 coaches.
I see.
Or anybody, really.
Yeah. Unless you want to be a goody-goody.
That's right. Something you can relate
Share
to.
No, John. Share the strategy thoughts. Well, you know, you do what you can if you want to play.
I know in those NBC production meetings why wherever Dick Ebersol is,
you're really reaching, aren't you? All right, here is Longley. Ryder shooting.
That's unfair to Dick. I know he's above production meetings.
Are you dropping names in the hope of advancing your career here, John?
Not at all. Just having fun.
Minute and a half remaining in this first quarter, and the Knicks lead by 10. Hopper now in the backcourt with Starks, Mason, Ewing, Oakley up front, and Mason able to hit.
I don't think Chuck Person thought Mason could hit that jump shot. He just looked at him.
Michael Williams guarded by Derek Hopper. Oakley over to help. Person for 3. Longley kept it alive. Beautiful exchange. Ewing with the rejection. And Person missed on the reverse.
Boy, was Ewing quick to that rejection.
And you know he enjoyed it. Patrick Ewing and Christian Leitner teammates on the... As Oakley is able to bury the jump. Ewing and Leitner were teammates on the U.S. Olympic basketball team in Barcelona and spent a lot of time together. Had a nice relationship. Leitner gets inside. So the Knicks now lead 32-20.
Longley with a pass that was uncatchable initially to Leitner, but it finally got to him, and he thanked Longley on the way up court.
20 seconds remaining in this first quarter. Down to 10. Another steal by Williams, but he threw it away. Pass intended for Ryder, and the Knicks get it back with 3 and 8/10 seconds to go. Rolando Blackman, Herb Williams, replacing John Starks, and Patrick Ewing. 6 points for Ewing. Starks with 10. And here's Hopper with the buzzer shot. So the Knicks with a 32-20 lead over Minnesota after 1 season. Doc also on the book tour promoting his new book, Those Who Love the Game. So it'll be Bruce Beck talking with Doc at halftime. Second quarter is underway. The Knicks 32, Minnesota 20. Marv Albert, John Andres, Al Troutwig, Walt Clyde Frazier from the Garden. Mike Brown has checked in along with Thurl Bailey and Chris Smith. Who looked unit on the floor for Minnesota. They shot only 7 of 20 in the first quarter, while the Knicks were hot. 14 of 22 in the end of the quarter with a 12-4 run. Chris Smith in his second year out of the University of Connecticut, getting it inside to Chuck Person. And for Person, his first bucket. Knicks now lead by 10. Setting the Knicks, it's Hopper and Blackman of the guard, Mason with Williams, and Oakley up front. And Mason feeling around for Bailey. Tried the power move. Rebounded by Brown.
Talking to one of the assistant coaches before the game, and they were fearful of Mason and Thurl Bailey as a matchup. Thurl Bailey hitting inside at 6'11". You would figure he could dominate Mason, but the feeling is that Mason's got too much body, too much physical style for Bailey, and he showed that as he backed him down on the prior plays.
Pat Riley calling a 20-second timeout following that inside basket by Bailey. So the Knicks now lead it by 8.
Was a man at 6'11", getting the ball in close like that is going to be tough for anybody, as he was for Orlando. The Knicks were too slow in picking him up. You can see Bailey a clear target, and the Knicks were very slow in adjusting to Bailey. However, in that prior play, Mason gets the ball down low and uses his muscle and strength, and Bailey retreats as Mason gets as close a shot as he can get without dunking the ball. Mike Brown in there on the rebound. There's a lot of size out there now for the Timberwolves. Leitner's a big guy at 6'11", Bailey at 6'11", Chuck Person's a strong guy, and Mike Brown, of course, is a powerhouse defender. That's why he's in the NBA, because of his defense, and he's 6'10".
Herb Williams not able to handle that pass from Rolando Blackman. Rolando sat out Saturday, sat out the game against Detroit. He was suspended for 1 game for throwing that punch last Thursday against the Pistons, throwing it at David Wood, also fined $2,000 by the NBA. Shot clock at 5. Leitner called for steps.
That was such a nice move. They should allow that.
John, I really think the afternoon game has got
Look at this. This is beautiful. At 1 point anyway.
I find you're a little different today. You know, I can't put my finger on it.
I think I have snowflakes on my head, Marv.
It's not necessarily a favorable trait. Leitner kept it alive, and here comes Chris Smith. Person on the drive, bottled up and fouled. Herb Williams and Rolando Blackman putting the move on Chuck Person, and Blackman is called for the foul. And here comes Tellis Frank for the first time, replacing Christian Leitner. Christian back in the starting lineup. Sat out 4 games with a sprained left hip, then came off the bench for 2, and he's slowly working his way back, not looking to force the issue, but as you mentioned in one of your rare intelligent points here in the first half, that he is such an unselfish player.
Glad you picked up on that.
Knicks by 7. 2 minutes gone by in the second quarter. Eric Hopper coming off an outstanding game on Saturday. 18 points, 6 of 11 in his 29 minutes. Bailey with Frank and Person on the front line for Minnesota. Person, well, he may have gotten away with an extra step.
It looked like the old-fashioned NBA weave out there. A lot of motion got Person free for a nice shot.
It's a big ball club on the floor for Minnesota. Blackman is able to hit. Actually, it stopped the 9-0 run by the Timberwolves. Actually, the matchup is Chuck Person and Rolando Blackman. So Person is operating as the big guard. And a foul is called. Offensive foul. Illegal pick was called on Tellis Frank, who was trying to set up Chuck Person.
Blackman's not unfamiliar with guarding forwards in the NBA. Throughout his career at 6'6", he often has found himself matched up with the bigger players.
Knicks trying to set Blackman up off the pick. Williams changed his mind. Open shot for Hopper. Williams with the tip. Ronnie Nunn looking for help and gets it from Jim Kinsey, who says last touched by the Timberwolves.
Certainly is a pattern of with Pat Riley playing Blackman and Hopper together along with Herb Williams, the 3 former Mavericks. As Hopper is unusually sloppy with that ball and turning it over.
Charles Oakley tried to save off another Minnesota steal. Michael Williams in his first quarter stint came up with 3 steals. Chris Smith, UConn's all-time leading scorer, handling against Derek Hopper. He was trying to set a pick, but Hopper would not allow it. Look at that. No space. And we get a whistle. Illegal defense has been called. Derek Hopper said he was not that happy with some of his defensive sequences Thursday in Detroit. He says he's still trying to feel it, still trying to get into it.
Yes, look for him to get up much closer to his man on defense. That's the point he finished with, the fact that he was giving his man too much room. His instincts are to help out. And a lot of times he'll leave his man, go and help out, and then recover, because he has the ability to recover quickly. And he might have gotten caught a few times with Isiah Thomas.
Second call of the illegal defense leading to the technical foul shot, and it was missed by Thurl Bailey, who had made his last 13. The Knicks lead is now 7. Oh, an explosive move by Smith, and then a loose ball foul is called on Frank. Ellis Frank in his 5th NBA season from Weston, Kentucky. As we mentioned earlier, last year played in the Italian League, played part of several NBA seasons with Golden State, Miami, and now Minnesota. He was originally a first-round draft pick of the Warriors back in '87. Patrick Ewing has returned. Nice exchange. Oakley with the rebound, and a foul is called. Charles in one motion trying to hit, but it's called a... He's arguing because he wanted the free throws. Mike Brown called for the foul, but it's a non-shooting foul. The call that Oakley was held before the shot by Brown. Ewing with the spin on Brown, and again a loose ball foul, but this time it's against the Knicks. It's on Mason. For Anthony, his first.
Anthony reminds the official how wrong he was with that call as he comes up court.
Seven and a half remaining in the first half. Bailey looking to square up, and foul on Mason once again. The Knicks come in with a record of 24-9. They've won 4 in a row, and 6 of their last 7. They are now 5 games in front of Orlando, and they are 8 over the Miami Heat. Tough week, though, for the Knicks following today's game. Home for San Antonio Wednesday, then they play at Orlando on Friday night. Ewing able to snatch it. So that will end the softer portion of the schedule. Hopper nearly coughed it up. Mason had to save it. Nice play by Anthony Mason.
Well, because Harper got the ball up court so quickly, there's plenty of time left on the shot clock after that adventure.
Ewing posting up Brown. And Oakley foul. Oh, Charles loves the floor. Hits it once again. Smith on the foul. Such a resilient body, John. He just loves to hit the deck. Here it is.
Just automatically heads south.
January 15th, 1990, Martin Luther King Day, and Trent Tucker beat the Chicago Bulls with 1/10 of a second to go. It changed the NBA rules as far as last-second shots are concerned, and Trent went on to play for the Bulls and win a championship. And now, are you dealing with retirement well or not?
Very well. I'm kind of enjoying this right now, getting a chance to relax and then do some of the things I have been doing for the last 11 years.
Trent, what brings you to New York today?
I'll see my business manager and then come by and see Patrick Ewing, a good friend of mine. Have dinner with him tonight.
What do you think you and Patrick will be talking about?
A little bit about basketball, a little bit about what I think about the Knicks' chance. I think they got a great chance to win a championship, and I would love to see them win a championship this year.
If a team calls and they need a shooting guard, could you give it a go?
I think I can go down the stretch and get ready for a playoff run.
So do I. Good to see you, Trent.
Okay, thanks, Doc.
All right, Marv.
Thank you, Al. Here's Ewing. Nice move by Patrick Ewing. And the Knicks now lead 36-27. Always nice to see Trent Tucker. You have a hat like that, don't you, John?
Yes, I have one tucked away more.
I see.
But Trent brought it out on a good day. But, you know, it was great to see him enjoy his time with the Chicago Bulls. It was thrilling to see him hit those jumpers down the stretch against Phoenix, boy.
And Trent's...
Oh, tell us Frank giving Oakley a massage underneath the basket.
Trent Tucker's dinner partner tonight, Patrick Ewing, was fouled. He'll go to the line, and Ewing is 1 point away from 15,000 career points. He'll become the 68th player in NBA history to hit the 15,000 mark. Smith called for that foul. Ewing is 2 for 2 from the line. He has 8 points. Knicks have opened up the second quarter 1 of 10 from the field, so that is it. Point number 15,000 for Patrick Ewing. He's also the Knicks' all-time leader in free throws made, past Walt Frazier, as the Knicks' all-time scorer back in mid-December. And the earlier free throws by Patrick Ewing put him by Clyde in that department in the Knicks team record book. It has been a very difficult season for Walt Clyde Frazier. He has taken a pounding in terms of personal records.
Yes, when he's talking to his friends now, he's got to be careful how he throws around his statistics.
That's right. Well, he can still show the yearbook because they won't have the update, so he can.
Oh, that's right.
All right, here's Ewing, called for steps. 5:43 remaining first half, and the Knicks have an 11-point lead. Mike Brown, Michael Williams with the step on Greg Anthony. Oh, Michael Williams with his first field goal. Michael Williams established himself in the NBA with 2 solid seasons in Indiana after jumping around between Detroit and Phoenix and Charlotte. Starks off the double team, blocked by Frank, and it will be Nick Ball with 6 on the shot clock. Here's Luke Longley for Mike Brown.
Tell us Frank made a terrific play by coming over and denying John Starks, leaving his man. He did it fast.
And Charles Oakley hits from deep. Charles 3 of 4. He has 6 points. The steal by Anthony. Oakley able to field that pass at the last instant. Starks 3-point territory now met by Longley, setting up an open Anthony Mason. Yes.
You know, Mark, it happened so fast, but Greg Anthony stripping that ball of Williams was a heck of a play. Came from behind and just took it away from him.
The Knicks with a 10-2 spurt. Minnesota had gone 4 minutes without a field goal before they hit just a moment ago. Greg Anthony has had another solid first half. Knicks lead by 13.
Orlando Magic this coming weekend. This Fun in the Sun package includes accommodations at the luxurious Disney Port Orleans Hotel, 3-day unlimited pass to all Disney attractions, a private party with the MGM theme park, Knicks VIPs, round-trip airfare, and game tickets. To receive your free brochure, call 212-268-8844.
Well, the Timberwolves turn it over, and the Knicks with a 13-point lead, 4.5 remaining in the first half. Anthony and Starks in the backcourt. Oakley, Mason, Ewing up front. 3 seconds violation call. Knicks have had their way off the boards. Knicks trying to hold a team under 90 points for the 5th straight game. That would set a team record. This since the inception of the 24-second clock. Leitner can't find the shot. Down to 4 on the 24. Longley with an air ball. Not realized by Ryder. And now we get the call. It's a 24-second violation.
Oakley did some job on Leitner, denying him after a series of fakes the shot attempt.
Now the Timberwolves are arguing that it grazed the rim, but the officials say no. The 24-second clock was readjusted. They gave the Timberwolves a new 24. It looked to be an air ball. Here's another gaze at it. I don't know, John, from that angle.
Tough to tell.
Electronic wizard Howie Singer and Bob Lewis providing yet another angle from From that one overhead, it appeared it did nick the rim.
The spin on the ball looked like it changed ever so slightly.
All right, here's yet another look at it, and looked like it changed direction slightly.
We've got to get to the bottom of this.
The Knicks will bound game clock will reset at 3 minutes 58 seconds.
Well, it will be Nick Ball. They say it did not touch the rim. It is a 24-second violation. Sidney Lowe accepting it very well, though, John.
He's a man.
Here's Anthony whipping to Ewing. Starks passed up on the 3 and hits the 2. Been an excellent first half to John Starks. 12 points along with 6 assists. He had 7 assists the other day against Detroit. Doug West had the lane closed. Longley. Ryder felt he was fouled. Anthony met on the switch by West. Wild pass picked off. Here's Ryder shoveling for Leitner, crunched by Oakley. Timberwolves have managed to hit 1 field goal the last 6 minutes.
Williams pushing that ball up court. You'll see Leitner get that ball at the end of the move. He's rocked, but he doesn't want to show any pain.
Christian, a 79% free throw shooter, leads the Timberwolves in scoring, averaging 17.5 per game. Last year as a rookie averaged 18.
And while at Duke, he led the Blue Devils to 2 NCAA titles. Seemed to calm down, Marv. You know, he's not. You don't hear many stories emanating from Minneapolis about him disagreeing with assistant coaches and teammates as we used to last year.
Yes, he had an incident last season, left the team to pick up an award down in North Carolina, and it led to a 1-game suspension. Anthony with another strong move. Look out. Anthony going for the steal, tripped up by Williams. Michael Williams called for the foul. Outstanding first half by Greg Anthony.
Yes, he's getting better and better. Williams just dispatches Greg to the floor.
Yes, that was more than being tripped up. Taking another look, he was shoved by Michael Williams, getting frustrated with the tight defensive play of Greg Anthony.
Oh, Leitner shoved Oakley pretty hard.
Ewing with a drop step, working his way in. 12 points for Ewing, and the Knicks extend to their biggest lead of the day, a 17-point margin.
Longley should have gotten his hands up and possibly even blocked that shot by Ewing.
Getting back to Leitner, who was suspended for 1 game. That was the game here at the Garden. This is actually his Madison Square Garden debut. He missed the Timberwolves game in New York last year. Beautifully done, and Ewing is able to finish it off. It was Anthony to Oakley to Ewing, an 18-4 run by the Knicks. Coming up on 2 minutes remaining first half. West rejected, and it's called goaltending. The basket will count.
Ewing was right on the case. You'll see Doug West pushing toward the hoop. In the official's opinion, the ball was on the way down.
Well, prior to that goaltend, the Minnesota Timberwolves went 7.5 minutes, scoring only 1 field goal. That during the course of the 18-4 run. Oakley. Leitner on the box out. The Knicks lead 50-33. Michael Williams with a change of pace dribble and fouled by Oakley. Michael Williams, one of the best foul shooters in the league in recent years. He's 87% this season. John, remember, he finished last year hitting 84 straight. That carried to this season. He had broken Calvin Murphy's record of 78 in a row, and as I say that, he misses on his first. He ended up hitting 97 straight. Finally missed back in November.
Yes, he made his 13 straight after finishing the season with 84. Ricky Pierce and Mark Price were getting all the headlines at the end of last year. Price finished high. In fact, he's the third all-time with 77 straight. But Williams snuck up on everybody and passed them.
Knicks by 16. Williams going for another steal is called instead for a reach-in foul. That is his third personal. Both teams are over the limit, and Greg Anthony, who has been doing the job at the foul line, will shoot 2 more. Michael Williams sits down, replaced by Chris Smith. 3 points for Williams, and leaves after picking up his third foul.
You know, Greg has been so outstanding of late. Looking at him in this first half, Marv, I don't think he's ever played better than in this particular first half. It seems that he is doing so many different things that are helping the Knicks establish, that have helped them establish this substantial lead. Steals, passes, scoring. He's really, truly doing it all.
Yes, 3 steals for Anthony, 3 assists in this first half. Knicks by 18. Ryder getting the double coverage, and Oakley over to steal, but stepped out. Try to save it, and actually Ronnie Nunn, who was trying to get out of the way, prevented the save.
The lady in the front row and a couple of youngsters, they were just shuddering at the thought of Charles getting any closer.
Here's Ryder. Rebound Oakley. Starks with the fake. Yes. Gorgeous move by John Starks, throwing the fake at the 7'2" Luke Longley.
Anthony could have passed the ball to Ewing, but he would have had to dribble, and he made a good decision in not giving it to Patrick.
Leitner thought he was fouled. Oakley played him so well. Anthony, may have been a foul involved there also, but Charles Oakley just closed the drive on Christian Leitner. Half-minute remaining in this first half. That's West forcing the shot. Longley gets to it. So the Knicks now lead 53-36. Minnesota with only 16 points in this second quarter. And the Knicks working the clock down. There's the 24-second clock on the left side of your picture. Starks for 3. John Starks hits the 3 with a second remaining. And here's Smith. Well, for the Knicks, a terrific first half. They lead the Minnesota Timberwolves 56-36 as Doc Rivers hobbles his way to the Knick locker room to hear the words of Pat Riley. And Doc will be chatting with Bruce Beck about his rehabilitation career that's coming up at halftime. We'll be back in a moment.
Hey, she's not the first girl to break up with me.
Much to discuss. Bruce?
Thank you, Al. And tomorrow is a very big day for Doc Rivers because it's weight-bearing day. Doc, what does that all mean?
That means I can start at least trying to walk. I thought it'd take 1 day, but they said it's going to take 2 or 3 days to really learn how to walk again. So I'm really looking forward to that day.
But the bottom line is that because they were able to save some of your cartilage, you had to stay off of that knee for quite a while. But in the future, this will be very positive. It means you won't have arthritic conditions.
Yeah, it was really great that it happened. Obviously, the pain in the neck part of it is that you have to go 4 weeks without putting weight on it. But the great part of it is in a month or in 10 years, in 20 years, I'll be fine, I'll be walking, and I won't have arthritis.
Now, rumors have it you're a model patient. How's your therapy going?
Well, I'm glad someone else is saying that. I'm trying. You know, the work doesn't bother me. The pain bothers me, but I can do the work all day.
Doc, some thoughts on your new book that's out, and since it's Martin Luther King Day, I thought it was interesting that you've talked about the stereotypical treatment of black athletes in your book. Share some thoughts with us on that.
Well, it's not only black athletes, and unfortunately in the newspaper article you didn't see that. Basically, it's something that everyone knows. It's like if you're reading a scouting report, and it's done not only by whites but by blacks also. If you see a guy, you kind of categorize him in these certain levels, and it's not right, but it's done. I do it, you do it, everybody everyone does it. And I wasn't trying to make it look like it was racism, more that it's something that you do look at black and white sometimes, and where you really should just look at the player.
You know, you're a very mild-mannered guy, and give you the pen and the venom comes out? What's the story?
No, I'm pretty nice, actually. I don't go in skeletons, bring out any skeletons in this book. That's not what the book was written for. It's more done just to talk about basketball. I love the game, and that's why I named it, for those who love the game.
Thoughts on Greg Anthony? It's been a difficult year for him. First, rumors of being traded, and now saying that he's unwanted. Share some thoughts with us on Anthony and what you went through early in your career when you weren't sure if you were wanted.
It's a tough situation. You have to understand, though, that they're not doing it to hurt you. They're doing it to help the team. And the best way you can help the team is by performing. And what Greg needs to do, instead of saying, I want to be a starter, I want more time, is to go out and perform, and then they have no choice but to give him more time. That's the approach I took. I told them, bring in whoever you want to. I'm going to beat that guy out and play more minutes and help the team, and we're going to win. That way, you have to keep me.
Early in your career, you went through those troubled situations.
Yeah, I did. My rookie year, I went through that situation. A guy got injured. They had to throw me in the starting lineup. When he came back, they took me back out. But I just kept playing as hard as I could, and they had to put me back in. And that's the best way to you don't have to worry about given a starting job. You go out and earn it and keep it.
I know it's going to be difficult watching the Knicks play here at the Garden because you want to get out there. But remember, tomorrow's weight-bearing day. You've got something to look forward to. Doc, we wish you the best.
Thank you.
Let's go back to Al Trotwick.
Okay, Bruce, always good to hear what Doc Rivers has to say. We're at halftime where the Knicks are enjoying their biggest lead of the game, 56-36. Back on MSG in a moment.
Of the Knicks play in the first half. Greg, the catalyst, really doing a nice job of finding open man. Oakley to Ewing for the good stuff. So good teamwork by the Knicks.
And most times up the floor, Clyde, the Knicks went up the floor with such confidence.
Right, and watch Greg anticipating. He leads the team in looting, coming up with this one. And Starks always alert for that play. So Stark, the recipient of the layup.
Yeah, and the video salute to Greg Anthony continues. 9 points, 5 assists, 4 steals.
Watch the dexterity here. Crossover dribble, wheel and deal. But Greg will not run up the court. Watch him deny Williams. Right there, Williams frustrated, created the foul, so Greg will shoot 2.
All right, Clyde, be good on the radio. That'll do it for our halftime coverage here on MSG. Knicks up 20. When we come back, it's time for the second half. Marv and John, and a salute to an award winner.
Join MSG Sam Rosen and John Davidson for the NHL All-Star Game preview, Thursday night at 10, here on MSG Network.
My name is Lois. I want to talk to you about something I just did.
Man in sports television for the 3rd straight year and 4 times out of the last 5 years. When news reached to the Garden, it led to a warm and stirring tribute from his peers.
An ace? I'm sure that's like a game of poker, right? What does that mean? What is an ace?
Cable award.
Oh, it's an award. It's like an Emmy. It's like an Emmy or an Academy Award, yeah.
A little below that.
I would love to comment on it, but I have a game. Sorry, but I have a game.
Knee-slapping humor from the coach, huh?
Oh, all you authors are the same. I'm sure there's a competitive feeling there with Pat and yourself with the book reference, but Marv, it is thrilling, and I'm just choked up. Were you choked up when you heard the award came your way again?
Are you having difficulty finishing your thought here, John?
I was so choked up. Or did you go back to sleep?
No, I appreciate it very much, and on a serious note, I feel very, very fortunate to work alongside yourself. And Alan Clyde and the Electronic Wizard, Howie Singer, Bobby Lewis, and the entire crew. You see, you won't take this.
How about Mike McCarthy?
You and Mike McCarthy, our executive producer. You won't take these honest sentiments seriously.
No, I'm thrilled to be working alongside a consistent award winner, and nice that you recognize those around you.
Absolutely.
To help you shine.
I think we've had enough of this, though.
I have to go to the men's room now, Mark.
Yes, I was going to suggest that. Look at the stats in the first half. The Knicks, 55% shooting, 24 of 44, and they hit 9 of the last 10 while the T-Wolves were struggling. Off the boards, Knicks with the edge, led by Charles Oakley. 10 rebounds for Charles in the first half. And check out the assist column. 19 for the Knicks, 8 for Minnesota, 5 for Greg Anthony, 6 for John Starks. And the second half is underway. The Knicks lead 56-36. Luke Longley able to hit over Patrick Ewing. He now has 10 points. And the Knicks lead is now 18.
Greg Anthony and John Starks had such fine first halves, and I'm shocked to look at the assist total for Starks. Along with his 8 out of 12 from the field, 17 points, he had 6 assists as well. A Toyota matchup now featuring first half play of John Starks and Isiah Ryder. Starks a very fine first half, as we mentioned, had 8 out of 12, 6 assists. And Ryder was kept in check by John Starks. Ryder did not really turn his coaching staff on of late. Missed practice yesterday, and also that was on the heels of being late to the game against Orlando on Friday evening. So Isiah Ryder has had a little growing pains here in his rookie year with his tardiness.
Yes, and talking to some of the members of the Timberwolves party, they said that Isiah was really looking forward to the game here. It's his Madison Square Garden debut, so they feel he's pressing in the first half, along with what you just mentioned. He came in an unsettled fashion after missing the practice, and the coaches have been upset with him. So we have not seen the best of the rookie from UNLV. Ryder only, as you mentioned, 2 of 8 from the field in the first half. The Knicks have a 20-point lead. The interception by Starks. Starks and Anthony open in the backcourt. Ewing up front with Bonner and Oakley. Ewing with the back tap, but handled by Williams. Nice lead for Leitner. Pretty chest pass thrown by Michael Williams. Christian Leitner with 6 points.
Michael Williams is 10th in the NBA right now, averaging 8 assists a game.
Bonner drew the double team. Michael Williams looking to cheat off on Patrick Ewing. Now Bonner backing West. Loose ball foul charged to Patrick Ewing. That is his second foul. In the second quarter, Minnesota scored only 16 points. They committed 8 turnovers in the second quarter. The Knicks at one point had an 18-4 run. And during a 7.5-minute stretch, the Timberwolves managed only 1 field goal. West got the step. Ewing with a piece of it. And Longley fouled by Bonner. Luke Longley is 2 for 2 from the line. Only a 66% free throw shooter. Sidney Lowe on the left, head coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves. John, he's a guy who's seen it from all sides of the organization. He was a starter at point guard for the Timberwolves in their first season. He handled color commentary for a year on their telecast. He was an assistant under Jimmy Rogers, was named interim head coach last January 11th, and then 2 months later signed to a 3-year contract. Michael Williams dishing off to Christian Leitner, who will go back to the free throw line. The foul on Ewing. Now they make a change. It's Oakley, his 3rd. So Leitner back to the free throw line.
Leitner shooting from the field this year while leading the Timberwolves in scoring at a 43% clip off his rookie year when he was at 46%. Now getting a lot of pressure, of course, from the defense now that he's established himself as a major player in the NBA. Didn't certainly take him long. But of course, he's getting more help this year. This team is stronger than it was last year with people like Person scoring a lot, capable players.
Starks for 3. Hit a 3 right at the end of the second quarter. And the Knicks get the new 24. Oakley tried to set a pick and then was looking for the pick and roll. Last touch by Williams, who is going for the steal.
There's a clear example of passing to the big man much better if it's bounced in than if it comes in on a line drive, as Ewing couldn't handle that line drive pass from Starks.
Starks, that was a three. So John Starks with his second three-pointer of the game. The Knicks 61 and the Timberwolves 43. Oakley jumped out for the steal. It's a 3-on-2. Oakley shooting.
Amazing how many big men do not come to receive a pass. I guess they instinctively feel they're giving up position by doing that, but it's so costly as defenders can reach around and steal the ball.
Ryder intent on getting that one off. He has impressive moves.
Unorthodox moves, as assistant coach Bob Weinauer was telling me earlier in the evening. He just said he can do things that other players can't do, and it comes off as unorthodox, unpredictable type moves. He seems to hang a little extra time in the air.
8.5 remaining in the third quarter. Leitner now 2 for 5, trying to get into the offense more here in the third quarter. Ewing. Rare outside jump shot here today for Patrick Ewing. Michael Williams. Well, the Timberwolves cutting into that lead, down by as many as 20. The Knicks now by 14, and they take a timeout. Straight, better than 19,000 on hand, and most of the seats are filled despite the adverse weather conditions. John, I know you wore your earlaps, or is it ear muffs today, but a look outside Madison Square Garden. The forecast calls for 2 to 4 inches of sleet and freezing rain. So the fans really had to want to see a basketball game to make it here to Madison Square Garden this afternoon. Patrick Ewing. It's a new feature of our MSG telecast. We show you the weather outdoors.
Sounds like an opportunity for Al Trotwig next game, or next time we need a weather report, to get out there and see Al with the umbrella and the boots.
Are you suggesting you'd rather see Al outside the arena during the games?
He's so good on these remote opportunities.
You're right. You're right. Well, the crack meteorologist department here at Madison Square Garden, which has been expanding in recent years, is on the case. That basket won't count. Starks called for the offensive foul. 7:24 remaining third quarter. The Knicks with a 61-47 lead on Minnesota. The Timberwolves coming off a victory over Orlando at home on Friday night. They have won 2 straight, and they've taken 4 of the last 6. This is a club that opened the season losing its first 5, and then they turned it around, winning 7 of 12. But before the recent streak, they had more than their share of problems. Having a problem right here, the 24-second clock running down to 0, and it is a violation.
You can see how the Timberwolves, Sidney Lowe tries to make a point to his team right now. We'll get back to that in a second. In January, it's been a much better month for the Timberwolves. They had lost 6 straight coming into January. Now they're 4-2 this month, outscoring their opponents, outshooting them from the field, and out-rebounding their opponents.
They've defeated Denver, Boston, Dallas, and Orlando over that stretch. The losses to Phoenix and San Antonio. Patrick Ewing, 16 points for Ewing. The Knicks 63, the Timberwolves 47.
Saying before, Marv, how the Timberwolves like to go to Leitner in the middle quite often to let him make passing decisions or shooting decisions, because he is such a fine passer. That's Michael Williams from the top of the circle.
6 minutes, 20 seconds remaining in the third. Ewing again drawing the double team. Comes right back to him. And he's fouled. No, tied up. He was tied up. All ball, says the official, Jim Kinsey.
Well, he turns right around into Longley's face. Longley gets the hand up and puts that big hand right on the ball, denying Patrick Ewing that shot attempt.
Patrick Ewing, who is viewing John Longley. You think that's a strange way of putting it?
Viewing the scoreboard, right?
And Ewing able to hit. I was about to say, Patrick will get the news after the game. It just came across that he has been named the NBA Player of the Week. Had a tremendous week with the 4 30-plus ball games. A wild shot by Isiah J.R. Ryder.
How did he do it? Well, when we get another look at it down the road, I'm sure we'll find out exactly how Isiah did that move.
Knicks by 14. Anthony with a change of pace dribble, setting up Bonner. Bonner will go to the line. Fouled by Doug West.
Isiah Ryder with a spectacular finish after Charles Oakley and Patrick Ewing tied him up pretty well. What a shot.
And you know, he was fortunate to get it off the reverse English because it tipped the side of the rim.
Yes.
And then caromed off the glass.
Kissed the rim, you know, Mark?
Yes. And following the bucket, glared at John Starks as if to say, take that, because it has been a struggle for Ryder here today.
Well, Starks is playing him very effectively, very tightly. He's not losing his concentration as he continues to score well throughout the game. He's really staying on Ryder.
John Starks with 20 points at the other end. He's had an outstanding game. Leitner missed on the stuff, but Michael Williams there. Knicks 66, Timberwolves 53 with just under 4 minutes, just under 5 minutes remaining third quarter. Oakley ends up on the floor. He is pushed by Leitner.
What a play by Leitner. Talk about blatant. Oakley coming up to set a pick. And Oakley might have given a little extra reaction on that push by Leitner.
Ewing triple team and a 3-second violation called on Oakley.
Patrick Ewing messengering something over to Charles Oakley about perhaps getting freer quicker when he's doubled and triple teamed like that.
West. Starks with the rebound. Turnaround jump by Oakley. Back tap was handled by Charles. Ewing was looking for Bonner, who was cutting over, and it was deflected out by the Timberwolves.
The last 3-second violation, Patrick Ewing has that right foot in the lane. And he got West right in the face with that pass intended for Oakley.
Chuck Person checks back in. Not getting the playing time, only 10 minutes. In the first half, Chuck has been coming off the bench as of late. Starks held. Fouled by Ryder. Anthony Mason will come on now tonight. Here's Mason for Bonner. Anthony Bonner leads with 5 points. Knicks have the new 24. So it's Mason with Ewing and Oakley up front. Anthony and Starks in the backcourt. Greg Anthony kept it alive for Patrick Ewing. And the pass picked off by Chuck Person. Ryder with that very deceptive hesitation dribble. Sets up for 3.
This team does not make many three-point shots. They only took one last game. They didn't take one in the prior game as well.
And Ryder has been off from downtown after getting off to a hot start in that department. Ewing. And the foul against Minnesota puts Ewing on the line. Longley called for his second.
Minnesota's only made 68 three-point shots this season. Coming in today, John Starks alone made 62.
.338 remaining in the third quarter. Patrick Ewing at 23.8 per game. Among the leaders, Shaquille O'Neal and David Robinson and Hakeem Olajuwon in a battle.
Well, we talked about a tough week for the Knicks, and that's David Robinson coming up here Wednesday, the #2 leader in the NBA, #2 scoring man in the NBA, and then Shaquille on Friday night.
Well, the Rifleman finally hits from deep. That's his first three-pointer. And the Knicks lead is down to 11. They've led by as many as 20. Oakley with the rebound. Oakley on the follow. What a play. And Mason and Person going at it. Anthony Mason and Chuck Person.
Boy, Person's really on fire.
You know, Mason could have taken a punch at Person and did not. He had him in a headlock and decided wisely not to take a shot.
Well, the message is clear these days, Marv. It's very costly. When you get suspended for one game, which can happen as it did to Rolando Blackman, that's 1/82nd of your salary. That's a lot of money these days.
Not to congratulate Anthony Mason for not taking the punch, but he made it into a wrestling match rather than what would have been an ugly brawl. So double technicals are called on Person.
Fortunately,
and Mason.
No punches were thrown, and to the best of our knowledge, there is not a fine these days for hugging in the NBA. Hugging your opponent, you don't get fined for it.
And it is Mason guarding Person. There's Ryder off the spin. And a foul on Starks. Now the Timberwolves call for time. Knicks by 13, 2:57 left in the third.
Well, the Knicks bench has cooled down now after that flare-up with Chuck Person and Anthony Mason. We'll take another look at it now. Person and Mason locking arms there. You can see in the lower right portion, and that turned into a hug, which turned into some anger with those players. Fortunately, it remained under control as this demonstration of strength by both players got pretty clear. Mason got that forearm into Person's neck. Both these guys are weightlifters. They're very strong. No punches thrown, double technicals.
And the officials, Ronnie Dunn and Jim Kinsey, who can both handle themselves, did a nice job.
Jim Kinsey looks like he spends some time in the weight room. Very well-built official.
There is Jim Kinsey, who I believe has spent some time lifting, John.
Yeah, he's got a great physique.
Knicks lead 69-58. Starks, yes, he has the stroke today. 22 points for Starks, 10 of 15 from the field. The Knicks by 13.
Oh, what an exciting move by Michael Williams. Dribbling his way through the big men and then hitting the jumper.
11 for Michael Williams. The Knicks 71. The T-Wolves 60. Mason working against Person. Starks off the head fake.
What a battle underneath. Mason keeping Person behind him. Person not allowing him any room.
It's a 3-second violation.
Person loves it.
Yes, both Chuck Person and Anthony Mason have had their share of battles through the years. You take another look. Michael Williams on the back tap. It's handled by Person.
And Marv, as we've witnessed through the years, Person's one of the great trash talkers in the NBA, and he just has been laying it on Mason.
And that's Ryder. So J.R. Ryder hits the three, and it's only an 8-point ball game. Leitner called for the foul. Made contact on Anthony. Minnesota over the limit. Here's Derek Hopper trying to report in, but Greg Anthony is going to the line.
Another look at these guys banging on each other. Person using his head on Anthony Mason. I mean, they're firing. I'm surprised that the officials haven't singled them both out for a lecture at this point, because there's no holding those two back.
Yes, Chuck is first team trash talk. And
he backs it up too, bodily.
Yeah, he gets himself motivated. Similar, not quite in the league of Michael Jordan, but Jordan would do that. He'd get himself going by doing a lot of talking. Ewing, you know, the Timberwolves, they forgot.
What happened to Leitner?
They didn't play the free throws. They just stepped away. It's a bad play by the big men underneath for Minnesota.
Taking another look at it. Now Leitner, I think, might have been acting that he was pushed from behind, and you could see Ewing moving him out, and he was trying to draw attention, which unfortunately worked against him, because Ewing then just went up and finished with a reverse dunk, and that just did not look good for Leitner to act that way. You just got to keep competing, and he just got a little soft on that response to the physical play of Ewing.
And because of that, Mike Brown just stepped away, so he did not compete for the ball. The delay right here because of a adjustment of a clock. This is Brown. Mike Brown, a native of Newark, New Jersey. 8th NBA season out of George Washington. The guy's been around Chicago, Utah, played in Europe a bit.
Well, what's happening now, Marv, is that Michael Williams is splitting the Knicks defense wide open time and again. And you know, Pat Riley's not happy about Greg Anthony not being able to contain him a little better, or at least the help coming over better.
Just under a minute to go in this third quarter, and the Knicks lead is only 9 after leading by as many as 20. And Ryder stepped out, so the ball goes back to New York. Now Greg Anthony sits down. He's played very well. Greg has been getting the playing time. Hopper only 8 minutes to this point. Anthony has hit 3 out of 5 in the field, 4 of 6 from the line. He has 10 points and 6 assists.
I think at this particular part of the game, though, Pat Riley would like to see Williams defended better, and that's, I think, why Hopper is now in the game.
32 seconds remaining in the third quarter. And Hopper all over Williams. Brown trying to pick him off. And Hopper did get picked off by Brown. And now Minnesota will hold for 1. Sidney Lowe screaming just one shot. Out of 10 seconds in the third. Michael Williams trying to split through, was fouled. Fouled by Hopper.
Williams has done that successfully a number of times today, where the Knicks big man always, that's the Knicks way of playing defense, will always come out and help the defensive point guard and try and double the man with the ball, and the man who's being doubled is then reversing and splitting, going right between the Knicks big man and the defender.
Michael Williams, 1 of 2 from the line. And a superb free throw shooter.
Michael Williams, an outstanding shooter, not only at the foul line, but also from the field, where he's 6th in the point guards around the league with his field goal percentage at over 50%. Or rather guards, not just point guards. These are 1s and 2s.
7 and 8/10 seconds remaining third quarter. The Knicks lead is down to 7. Ewing got the step and was rejected by Ryder. What a play by Ryder, who was greeted enthusiastically by Chuck Person, who raced off the bench.
And Ryder looked at Ewing and laid it on him verbally, and then ended up with a smile. I don't think Patrick thought of it in that way. Oh, wow. He's 6'5". That's Ryder at 6'5". What a great feeling. Wow.
Back at the Garden, where at halftime of today's game, the New York Knicks, for the 8th consecutive year, made a $5,000 donation to the United Negro College Fund. We'll have more on that in a moment, but right now the fourth quarter is underway. Marv?
Thank you, Alan. The Knicks outscored 31-18 in the third quarter that concluded with that sensational rejection by the 6'5" Isiah Ryder on Patrick Ewing, and the Timberwolves very much back into it after trailing by as many as 20. It is only a 7-point Knick lead. Here's Mike Brown. The Knicks 74, Minnesota 69.
Turnovers mounting again. Patrick Ewing coughing it up now. He had 4 turnovers alone in the first half, and when he gets that double team, it becomes a problem quite often.
11-3 run by Minnesota going back to the third quarter. Ewing gets inside. So the Knicks now lead 76-69. The Knicks shot only 6 of 20 from the field in the third, while Minnesota heating up 11 of 21 in the third quarter. Marv Albert, John Andres, Al Troutwood, Walt Frazier from the Garden. Michael Williams is on fire. He has 15. He's hit 6 of 9, and the Knicks lead is only 5.
Patrick Ewing now has 7 turnovers, which is his ties his season high. Last game he had 7 turnovers as well.
And a foul is called as Ewing received the ball, took a push from behind from Brown. Here's Anthony Bonner providing a rest for Patrick Ewing. 23 points, 9 rebounds. So it is Bonner with Oakley and Mason. Charles Oakley has played all the way. And now a smaller lineup on the floor with Oakley and Brown matched up. Harper going to his left, and he is fouled. Nice move by Derek Harper as he goes to the line. Let's go back to Al.
All right, Marv, here's a look at the ceremony that took place at halftime. As I said, for the 8th consecutive year, the Knicks and the Garden honoring the memory of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. with a $5,000 scholarship grant to the United Negro College Fund. Ed Tapscott of the Knicks was joined by Cal Ramsey, Anthony Mason, Charles Oakley, and Virgil Ecton of the United Negro College Fund. Martin Luther King Day about many things. One of them, hope for the future, and the Knicks making a $5,000 donation toward that hope. Back to you.
Thank you, Al. Anthony Mason with a little elbow of Cal Ramsey.
Yes, an affectionate elbow to the gut. Yes. Sure was appreciated by Cal.
Oh, yes. 2 minutes gone by in the fourth quarter. They doubled up on Williams and a foul on Harper.
You could see Oakley, after seeing that move by Williams several times, trying to anticipate it and close up the hole so Williams couldn't get through, which he didn't succeed in doing.
Thurl Bailey is back in up front now with Brown and Tellis Frank. West and Williams in the backcourt, and another foul on Harper. That is his third. So both the Knicks and the Timberwolves with 2 team fouls. Mason trying to help out.
Takes a team effort with Michael Williams.
Shot clock at 7. Bailey and a defense from the crowd. Bailey goes to the hook. Just did beat the 24, and last touch by Mason. Minnesota getting the new 24. West. It counts, and the foul. Strong move by Doug West who will go to the line seeking a 3-point play.
Doug West going baseline, and he has the ability to soar. He gets up to the rim pretty well after all that effort that got him there.
Bonner called for his 4th. So West converts a 3-point play, and it brings Minnesota within 4 points. 9.5 remaining, 4th quarter. Frank trying to front Mason. Starks. Loose ball foul against the Timberwolves. Oh, Mason and Brown with some words for each other. Foul's called on West. His 3rd.
There's a lot of beef in that front line of Minnesota. Tellus Frank at 6'10", a tough matchup for Mason. Brown and Oakley. There's a lot of strength out there.
And all very aggressive. Hopper draws the foul. Once again, Derek Hopper had an opportunity at a 3-point play. Would have been a difficult shot to hit. Tellus Frank called for the foul, and Derek Hopper will go to the line. He's hit 2 out of 2 from the line.
This is a time of the game where Greg Anthony has to be thinking, what do I have to do to be in at crunch time? They haven't quite gotten there yet, crunch time that is, but Greg's had such a terrific game, although he had a problem, as Derek Harper is having, with Michael Williams. That's no big deal. He's been tough today, but Harper's enjoying now the 4th quarter play.
Strong bounce back for Greg Anthony when you consider all the play in the newspapers today following his statements and the reaction of Pat Riley. Not pleased about Greg just looking at himself in terms of, at least that's the way it came out, in terms of the excellent game by Hopper against Detroit here on Saturday.
Well, you know, Marv, as you well know, players, unlike broadcasters, don't run to the newspaper first thing in the morning on the day of a day game, you know, so perhaps Greg wasn't even aware of the reaction.
Does the basket count? Apparently not. Loose ball foul on Oakley. Sidney Lowe wanted the score, but will not get it.
Darrell Bailey charging his way in. And then Oakley called on a foul.
That is number 4 on Oakley.
Looks like Oakley took the brunt of it from his perspective.
The call was that the foul took place before the shot attempt. Here's Bailey. Oh, nice turnaround hold by Thurl Bailey. Only a 2nd field goal, and here are the Timberwolves within 4. Starks fouled by West. 8:23 remaining in this 4th quarter. 4 fouls on Doug West, 3 apiece on Leitner, Michael Williams, Mike Brown, Tellus Frank. Timberwolves turning it around in the second half after the poor shooting in the first, and the Knicks have struggled after opening up, shooting 55% in the first half. Starks on the line for the first time.
Charles Oakley in an unusual position now. Looks like he's talking to Mike Brown, facing him at the foul line. A lot of chatter going on. Now he straightens himself around.
One of the game this afternoon in the NBA in San Antonio with a 15-point lead in the 4th quarter in Washington. And bad news for the Bullets. Rex Chapman, who has been playing very well, is lost for the rest of the season because of a dislocated ankle. Rex Chapman is out the rest of the way. Nice pass, and West converts. Knicks 82 and the Timberwolves 78.
That was Michael Williams on that lead pass.
Starks got the step and then tossed back out. Hopper for 3. Yes. Derek Hopper hits the 3-pointer. But Derek, his 2nd from downtown as a Knick. Off the steal. Here comes Starks.
That was Bonner reaching around Thurl Bailey.
Brown picking up Hopper on a switch. Oakley from deep. Mason with the save. What a play by Anthony Mason. Starks trying to lose West off the screen. Hopper again. That was a three-point attempt. Oakley hustling, but Williams cuts it off. Michael Williams so dangerous in the open floor. Knicks able to slow him down. Charles Oakley landing in the crowd, but is all right. And he's able to hustle down. West open. Doug West with 14. The Knicks 85. The Timberwolves 80, and the Knicks want a timeout. 6.5 to go in the fourth. Knicks led by as many as 20, now lead by 5.
This is an Eagle Vision, a sophisticated American.
When to say when. A reminder from Budweiser. Time for our AT&T long distance shooting update. John Starks couldn't get it done on the baseline. Ball moves around to Derek Harper from three-point range, and that is his second wearing a Knicks uniform.
Derek Harper, one of the best three-point shooters in the history of the league. He is now 2 3-pointers away to tying Larry Bird for 6th all-time in the NBA. Bird with 649 from three-point land.
Well, Derek's been out in that Western Conference. People here in the East are shocked to hear how he is a three-point shooter like Larry Bird was.
Oakley with a nice putback. Knicks extend to an 87-80 lead. We come up on 6 minutes remaining fourth quarter. Michael Williams. And now Isiah Ryder in the backcourt. Williams has had the touch. A rare miss for Michael in the second half. Starks and Hopper at the guards. Ewing, Oakley, Mason up front. Charles Oakley has gone all the way here this afternoon. Ewing is fouled through the double team and was hit by Luke Longley.
Well, with that little head fake, he got rid of Longley. Michael Williams was part of the action too. And with Charles Oakley playing the minutes he's playing today, Marv, it once again brings the thought of the return of Charles Smith to the Knicks lineup, which appears to be imminent. A week maybe a couple of days more than that. But Charles very anxious to get back, as is Pat Riley and Charles's teammates. At that point, he will shave. He looks good with the beard mustache, I must say.
Ewing is 6 of 7 from the line. Rebounded by Oakley. Starks. Ewing. And Longley gets to it. Many second and third opportunities for the Knicks off the hustle of Oakley and Mason. Chuck Person is back, as is Christian Laettner. And Laettner has 9 points. Christian Laettner had been out for a while with a sprained left hip, missed 4 games, then was used off the bench. Back in the starting lineup here this afternoon. Not been involved in the offense as much as usual as he works his way back. Foul committed by Laettner. That's his 4th. And it puts Ewing back at the line. 4 apiece now on Laettner and West. Knicks with 4 on Oakley and 4 on Bonner. yesterday, John, a story out of San Diego, California, reporting that as it turns out, and this came as a surprise to many people, the financially troubled Minnesota Timberwolves could be headed to San Diego. All kinds of problems with the Target Center and the group attempting to build a new downtown sports arena in San Diego, pursuing the Timberwolves as a tenant. It has not been denied by the Timberwolves organization.
Yes, the feeling is when they got into the NBA as an expansion franchise, they had to build their arena. The ownership did, whereas several of the other teams that came into the NBA in recent times had municipal support. They didn't have to go to the expense of undertaking the development of an arena as Minneapolis people did.
And off the inbounds, a holding foul call on Hopper means 2 shots either way, with Minnesota, rather the Knicks and Minnesota over the limit. So Michael Williams will go to the free throw line. Hopper picks up his 4th. Michael Williams 3 out of 4 from the foul line. Target Center is one of the great arenas in this country, and it's really a shame. In fact, Target Center Minneapolis will be hosting the All-Star game in February. Of course, San Diego may have different thoughts on this matter. San Diego. Hopper lost it. Williams with the steal. Leitner knocked it away. Hopper coughed it up. And the Wolves are within 4. And it appears that Greg Anthony is walking over to the scorer's table.
Hopper has not had excellent moments handling the ball here.
Illegal defense called on Minnesota. And a technical foul for the Knicks. John Starks will shoot it. Started to say San Diego has had its run in the NBA and the ABA. Who would forget the San Diego Conquistadors of the ABA, coached by
the Dipper.
Yes,
Will Chamberlain.
That's right. San Diego Rockets, a team that once had on its roster a fellow by the name of Pat Ryder. So Greg Anthony has come in. It has not been a good one for Derek Hopper. Coming off the strong performance, his best as a Knick on Saturday, while Greg Anthony has played very well. The Knicks lead 91-86. 4:20 remaining in the 4th. And Anthony with a pass picked off by Longley. Starks broke it up. Excellent play by John Starks, because Leitner was cruising in for an uncontested drive. The Knicks have led all the way. They've led by as many as 20. It is now a 5-point lead. Minnesota has come within 4. Ewing with the box out. Leitner hanging in the backcourt. He was able to bother Hopper, but this time Anthony protects.
Anthony now in the role of leader to settle his backcourt down.
Starks, quick release. John Starks pumping from deep. Oakley with the save again. It's Starks for Ewing.
Oh, what a shot of Oakley. Oakley with the feet sticking out as he went over the press table.
Well, that is the play of the game. Charles Oakley, who continues to throw his body all over the court, landing behind, why, I believe, in the lap of New York once, Bud Michigan, John.
Dennis Rodman, 7 o'clock Knicks game night. And speaking of the Spurs and Dennis Rodman, we'll have a Rodman-type play brought to you by Charles Oakley. Charles saving that ball, going into the seats. He was aiming, I think, for Bob Page.
Yes, Bob was nearby, and that's an example of the media getting involved in the action. What a save as Oakley got it to Starks, who fed Ewing, and then Ewing was able to hit. Charles Oakley landing between Bob Page of MSG, Mark Stevens of WABC, and Bud Michigan of of New York won. They all felt the brunt of it. And the Knicks now lead by 7. 3.5 remaining in this fourth quarter. Leitner off the mark. Anthony with the save for Oakley. And again, Leitner hangs back, looking for the steal. Starks works against Ryder, then feeds Ewing. Yes, Patrick Ewing with his second straight baseline jump shot, and the Knicks lead 95-86, 30 points for Ewing.
Patrick's been enjoying fourth quarter play of late when he's been shining.
That's a three-point attempt by Person. Back comes Starks. Good outlet from Oakley. The feed from Mason. And the Knicks with a good run now lead 97-86, and Sidney Lowe upset. Knicks able to break down once again on the Timberwolves.
What a fast break, led by Charles Oakley, who kicked it off.
7-0 run by the Knicks, finishing strong. Ryder with the step. Ryder is fouled by Ewing. Three on Patrick Ewing.
Oakley on that last rebound, scoop pass to John Starks. He knew he had the advantage. Mason a little trouble holding that ball, but he has such good hands that he retrieved it and finished the playoff.
Isiah Ryder with 17. He's 6 of 7 from the line. Here's Doug West checking in, replacing Chuck Person. Leads with 8 points.
Isiah Ryder, the 5th overall choice in the NBA draft out of UNLV. Memories of Sidney Green, who was the 5th choice in 1983. Larry Johnson, the 1st choice in 1991, all UNLV products.
Isiah Ryder, the Big West Player of the Year last season, 2nd in the nation in scoring, averaged 29 a game. And Ewing was bottled up and fouled. Leitner called for his 5th. Both teams over the limit. Ewing to the line. He's 8 of 10 from the foul line.
You're recalling Leitner and Ewing as Olympic teammates, Marv. I remember when we were in Minneapolis last year, the game was over, and how Leitner and his folks came over to the Knicks locker room to greet Patrick Ewing, and nice to see their friendliness after having sharing that Olympic experience.
Yes, they were good buddies throughout the Barcelona couple of weeks during the course of the Olympics. Christian Leitner did not see much playing time with the Dream Team, but what an experience. And the Knicks now lead 99-88. Coming up on 2 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. Leitner setting it up and throws back out to Williams. And Leitner over the top of Oakley, got a piece of him, and he's fouled out.
That did it for Leitner. He's got a lot to say.
So Christian Leitner greeted by the crowd as he sits down. 3 of 10 from the field, 9 points, 7 rebounds. Still working his way back, though, with the sprained left hip. We've not seen the best of Christian Leitner in his Madison Square Garden debut.
Well, Leitner, despite his good behavior, still has somewhat of a bad boy image, and it seems the fans feel that as they send him away rather happily.
Charles Oakley, who has played all the way on the line. Charles with 10 offensive rebounds. Look at that stat line. 12 points, 17 rebounds. What an effort by a player who should receive serious consideration to make this year's All-Star game. Minute 52 remaining in the fourth quarter. High man Patrick Ewing with 32 points along with 11 rebounds. So Ewing with 30+ in 5 of the last 6 games.
Looks as though the Knicks will not break their 4-game streak of holding opponents under 90.
And the foul.
I should say extend their streak, which would be a team record.
Foul on Mason is 3rd. As the Knicks come in with 4 straight games of holding opponents under 90, which ties a team record that was accomplished on several occasions. This a record since the inception of the 24-second clock. Timberwolves with 89 points. So there it is, 90 points for Minnesota. Meanwhile, the Knicks have gone over 100. They had not scored 100 points the last 6 games, but certainly their style of play that contributes to that particular statistic.
You mean missing a lot of shots?
Yes. Along with the way, the defensive style. Michael Williams. Knicks by 9. On Starks, and a timeout is called. That may have been one of your stronger lines of the season, John. So I think back.
Knicks fans, get your copy of the all-new 1994 official New York Knicks yearbook today. This 120-page yearbook is a true collector's item with articles by New York's top sports writers, rare never-before-published photos, even a special 30-page section commemorating the first quarter-century of Knicks basketball at Madison Square Garden. Just send $10 check or money order to Knicks Yearbook, 2 Penn Plaza, 3rd floor, New York, New York, 10121. Attention, Debbie. That's Knicks Yearbook, 2 Penn Plaza, 3rd floor, New York, New York, 10121. Attention, Debbie.
Easily confused in the past. Wednesday, 7:30 start. Knicks game night at 7 for the Knicks and the Spurs. Knicks lost in San Antonio back in mid-November. Their first loss of the season. They had won their first 7 games. Friday night in Orlando, 8 o'clock start. Next game night at 7:30. And then Sunday night home for Philly, 6 o'clock start here at the Garden. And this is a rare treat. This game will be seen twice more. Of course, when you're hearing this tonight, you may get confused. But it will be shown again. I know that's too deep for you, John. You're trying to figure that out. Well, it will be shown at 8 and again at midnight. A double Knicks rewind.
I'm thinking of it in terms of the Cume rating, Marv, for the MSG salespeople. Be a very high rating.
Patrick Ewing living along the baseline with that jump shot. Patrick Ewing has just killed the Timberwolves down the stretch with that baseline jumper. So Ewing with 13 of his 34 in the fourth.
Guys, with an official ID badge, a poster, stickers, quarterly newsletter, and more. For a membership application, send your name and address to Knicks Kids Fan Club, P.O. Box 418, Norwood, New Jersey, 07648. There's a guy who got a head start, I think, Marv.
55 seconds remaining. In the fourth quarter, the Knicks 103 and the Timberwolves 92. Both teams have 2 full timeouts and they have their 20s remaining. Martin Luther King Day matinee here at Madison Square Garden. A year ago on Martin Luther King Day, the Knicks beat Phoenix, the game that saw Charles Barkley leap over the scorer's table. Michael Williams called for a backcourt violation. Good play by Greg Anthony Williams, trying to plead his case that either he was fouled or Anthony knocked it into the backcourt. But it will be Nick Ball.
lot of intensity. The Knicks really adjusted to Michael Williams in the second half. Ewing on the help there made it work.
And Anthony is fouled. Has to be a very satisfying game for Greg Anthony. Played extremely well in the first half. Just coming off the reversal of efficiency on Saturday, although Greg did play well in the first half, but did not get the playing time as Derek Harper did the job, had his best game as a Knick in the second half against Detroit. And Harper struggled here this afternoon. And as a result, Pat Riley went back to Greg Anthony in the final minutes, and Greg has done the job. In terms of statistics, 10 points, 6 assists, and 4 steals for Greg Anthony.
Excellent game for Greg. It was also interesting how Harper criticized his style of play as Anthony steals the ball on that inbounds attempt.
Steal number 5 for Greg Anthony.
I was saying how Harper criticized himself after the fine effort the other day. He has high standards himself.
Half minute remaining in the game, and the Knicks by 12. Starks fouled by Longley. The Knicks spending much time at the line in the fourth quarter. They are 15 of 17 from the line here in the fourth. And Starks 4 for 4. He has 25 points along with 11 assists.
I remember Starks also last year at Minneapolis having an excellent game against the Timberwolves. They've certainly got to know him better this year and last year.
John Starks with the 11 assists, equaling his season high in that department. Isiah Ryder showing his leaping ability once again. 15 seconds remaining. Knicks 106, Minnesota 94. And the New York Knicks will make it 5 straight, 7 of their last 8 in another solid performance. The Knicks 106, the Timberwolves 94. And the Knicks go to 25-9. They are now 5.5 over the Orlando Magic. Orlando plays tonight at Cleveland. Minnesota 12 and 23 for the season. We'll be back with our post game in a moment.
You'll never make it in the NBA.
In the fourth quarter, battling 2 players for the rebound and then whipping into the front row and beyond to save it. What did it lead to? Well, it led to a very important hoop at the time. Knicks were dying, Timberwolves were flying, and Patrick Ewing got the ball after the save and drilled it from the baseline. And it was those baseline jumpers in the fourth quarter by Patrick Ewing which helped save the New York Knicks. Knicks led by 20 at the half, and then Minnesota did a couple of things. They gave the ball to Michael Williams and said, have a good time, and he sliced and diced his way, sorry to sound like Clyde, he sliced and diced his way through the Knicks defense, which in the first half was extraordinary. The Knicks also faced the pressure of the Minnesota defense, and that caused problems for, come on in, Charles, that caused problems for Derek Harper and Greg Anthony. And of course, before the Knicks knew it, it was a 4-point game in the fourth quarter. You're smiling and waving. This was a day to enjoy, Charles, on Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
It was a great day, celebration, and you know, I'm glad we got the victory in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King, and you know, we just trying to get our strength back and get our players back and start a winning streak.
You spent a lot of time mingling with the fans tonight, Charles, during the game, diving into the front row on a few occasions. The one where we just saw you flying over the table. It's indication of the type of intensity that you've had for some time.
Well, I just try to do what it would take to get the ball and try to get our team some points on the board and, you know, dive in, taking charge of loose balls. And, you know, we trying to get it back, and it's going to take time. We just got to keep working. And after Charles come back maybe at the end of this week and then Hubert next week, and we're going to start building and get our winning streak started like we did last year towards the end of the season.
Now, Charles, in most NBA games, you get a 20-point lead. The other team does make a run at you. That's just a fact of life in this league, but it's never easy to watch. What happened? What did Minnesota do?
Well, they started hitting a lot of shots, and we started missing. So they hit 6 in a row, and we missed 6 in a row. They had made a 12-point turnaround, so they got it down to like 4, 8, whatever. And you know, we just started back and, you know, taking some shots, going to the hole. John and Patrick, you know, Greg did a great job of, you know, creating, dishing, and you know, we just seem like every game in the third quarter we just fall into a little lob. I think in the fourth quarter we picked it back up, and, you know, our Tennessee got back up, and Patrick and John just took over again.
There was a time in the game when it was really physical inside, and Pat Riley went small, so to speak. He went with you, Anthony Bonner, and Anthony Mason without Patrick Ewing. How physical was it in there?
It was physical. The guys got big bodies, but, you know, you can't worry about how physical. You just got to put your
You love that, right?
You just got to play the game. I don't worry about hit, you know, bruises. I just play the game, and after the game over, take a shower and go home. You know, I don't worry about it. I just play the game. I don't, you know, bumping bruises. I don't think about that.
Charles, I want to show you the play one more time. You got some help from the members of the media there sitting in the front row. You're gone.
Yeah, I went down. It was a nice seat. I wanted to stay there, but that was the floor of the game, so I had to get back up and get back into it.
Charles, the Knicks have won 5 in a row, and when times were tough a couple of weeks ago, Pat Riley said no more test games, but you've got the San Antonio Spurs coming in for you. That means Dennis Rodman and more rebounding battles and David Robinson. Is Wednesday a little bit of a test to see how far you've gotten the confidence back?
Well, not a test. It's just something for our players to come out and take the next level. And this month, the game, you know, season will get tough, and to next month, February. So now we're picking it up, and it's the right time. Seems like the time is right, and we got a winning streak. We're playing San Antonio, we got Orlando, and then, you know, we just go from there. So we just got to take one game at a time, stay focused, and, you know, don't lose our intention. We just got to get it up.
Charles, have the Knicks teammates of Greg Anthony done anything to sort of boost his confidence? I mean, even though the team won on Saturday, he seemed a little down and didn't seem wanted.
Well, you know, Greg got to be a man, and, you know, he can't worry about it. You know, he's starting now, and he just got to get the job done. And if he ain't getting the job done, they're going to play somebody else. So that's what he got to worry about. As long as he's getting the job done, he can't worry about what the management, whatever somebody else do. I think that he got to stay focused and just run the team. When they get a chance, take it to the hole.
And he did that today.
Play tough defense, and that's what Ryder wanted him to do, and just run the offense.
How about some thoughts about the day? $5,000 to the United Negro College Fund on Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
It's a great call. Me and Mason went to Black College, and they need all the money they can get to try to have other students, athletes, whoever to go there and try to achieve a goal in life and never get an education, do better in life after they get out of college.
Charles, thanks a lot for your time. Great game.
Thank you.
Charles Oakley, another double-double. He has been, since the beginning of the season, the most consistent Knick, and he'll receive another American Express gift check. Think of it as a universal certificate that can be used to buy anything, just about anywhere. Gift checks are available where American Express traveler's checks are sold. And some of our guests also receive a Bulova watch. Bulova timepieces are among the best you can buy. The Marine Star collection from Bulova.
New Year's '94. Here's the deal. Unwanted gifts go back. New Year's resolutions are made. At a Pontiac Center.
Rookie Isiah Ryder of the Minnesota Timberwolves. This guy can sky. Watch Patrick Ewing get the ball on the break. You know as he goes to the hoop, he's thinking big-time dunk. One problem. Isiah Ryder's thinking big-time block. Well, the crowd was oohing and eyeing after that. Back at the Garden now, Al Troutwig with you. We'll hear from Pat Riley, of course, Michael Kay in the losing T-Wolves locker room. Their 2-game-winning streak is now over. And Curtis Bunn in the victorious Knick locker room. The Knicks have now won 5 straight games. Let's take a look at the Tri-State Jeep and Eagle Dealers scoring summary for the New York Knicks. It was, as I said, 34 points for the center of the team, Patrick Ewing, 12 of 22, 11 rebounds. After that, John Stark shot the ball well all game, 10 of 21, 27 points, 11 assists. Charles Oakley, another double-double. We spoke to him moments ago. Greg Anthony, much more effective in the first half, but he did conclude the game with 11 points, 6 assists, and 5 steals. Derek Harper had 7 points, struggled a bit under the pressure of Michael Williams, who's so great at provoking steals and creating things on defense for Minnesota. As for the Timberwolves, here is their scoring story. Leading the team in scoring today was Michael Williams. Boy, did he get hot in the second half. 21 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds. Isiah Ryder had 20 points and 5 rebounds. 16 points for Doug West. He also got hot in the second half. Luke Longley in the middle, tough but not consistent. 12 points for him to go along with 8 rebounds. Christian Laettner fouled out and he played unselfishly as he delivered 9 points and 7 assists, but really at times didn't seem like he even wanted to shoot. It sets the stage for Wednesday night's game here at Madison Square Garden. Yes, David Robinson and Dennis Rodman. He'll come in with what color hair we do not know, and the Knicks will put their 5-game winning streak on the line. Game night begins our coverage at 7 here on MSG. Back in a moment. It was a tough and physical win for New York today. Free throws in the fourth quarter, 17 of 19 from the free throw line. Let's go to Pat Riley's press conference.
And we played as well as we I thought as well as we played in a long time in the first half, and extended it actually for a while, and had a real flat third quarter, but they played extremely well, and City made a great adjustment at halftime on their pick and roll game that really gave us some problems, and they were setting 2 big screens up high, and our blitzes and our normal defenses were not covering, and they got out of sync, but we made enough plays, to get it done, and that's what it's about.
Figures that the biggest play would be a hustle play by Oak to save a
well,
rebound at the baseline.
Yeah, he made about 3 or 4 of those, but that's not uncommon for him. It's just a great play that saved the ball, and we got something out of it. But he's been really, really great from that standpoint. So,
is there any common pattern in this propensity to blow these big leads lately?
I don't know. It's I don't know what it is really. I mean, you can't. You can use the old cliche about killer instinct and trying to put teams away, but we talked a little bit about it at halftime. Trying to sustain our game and stay consistent with our game, and that comes with effort. And we were flat in the third quarter with a 20-point lead. You can see maybe a team sometimes cutting it to 12, but when they came all the way back to 4, and it took, Derek Harper 3 to give us a little more of a cushion, it takes a play by Oak. You should not be in that kind of position, but we have to keep, working on our game and recognizing when teams begin to trap us and try to come back with traps that they should equal 2 free throws or layups, and we just don't execute very well in those situations.
Is that something that you can easily fix? I mean,
well, we just keep working on it. We see it all the time, and we're a predictable team, and so people trap us to take us out of our power game and our post game and our catch and shoot game, and at that particular time, sometimes you don't have the kinds of players on the floor, that can just, you got one shooter that can stretch it with a 3, and a lot of times there's Oak and there's Mason, and so you move the ball around 3 or 4 times and you get very little out of it unless you're really attacking it, and sometimes if you have different players out there, it equals layups or jumpers or something like that. So, we've had problems with that.
Is that where Derek at the point can help more because he can stretch it?
Well, he can stretch it. Yeah, he had a big 3 for us. He had some good shots, but it isn't the point guard. It's the point guard that take the ball out of his hands. It's the other 2 or 3 players that get the first and second pass.
What kind of grade you give tonight for Patrick in recognizing the double team?
Well, he was not, we keep a post, how many times it goes into the post. It went in 26 times tonight and came out 4. The other night it was in there 23 times and came out 15, So, I mean, it's a question of whether or not he's being double teamed quickly, and even though he was tonight, he was only double teamed 4 times, hard. And he has the ability to beat double teams when he goes baseline with it, but just to mix it up, we have to honor everybody on the floor. You got to honor the open man to make the defense rotate back and then repost it. So, it's something we'll talk about tomorrow and really take a look at it on film and show it to him on film. And, what choices are we making in the post? So if he gets it in single coverage, I want him to go. You want him to go, and mix it up with power moves and turnaround jumpers and jump hooks and stuff like that. But it did not come out very much tonight. But we also had a 20-point lead with it that way, too, so it bogged down a little bit in the third quarter.
Were you impressed with Ryder's rejection on Patrick?
Was it him? I didn't notice who blocked it. I just know it was a block. He's a very gifted athlete. He really is, and they got themselves a nice player with him. So, he's a good pick.
Why did you call it timeout in the last, minute and 10 seconds? You're up.
Never know. The press conference of Pat Riley brought to you by Saturn. A different kind of company, a different kind of car. Back in a moment with Michael Kay's visiting clubhouse report on a day the Knicks went to Patrick Ewing, and he delivered.
Join MSG by Budweiser, fresh, pure, natural, proud to be your Bud.
And the Bud dunk of the game begins with a free throw. Patrick Ewing says, "Excuse me, Christian Laettner, could you get out of the way so I can reverse slam this for two?" Our Bud dunk of the game. Patrick Ewing leading the way for the New York Knicks today, and Michael Kay has come out of the Minnesota Timberwolves locker room. Who did you talk to first, Mike?
Talked to Sidney Lowe, the coach, and he's a little bit disappointed in the team. He said, but that's all part of growing pains. You're going to whittle down a lead, and then you'll give it away. He said, I'd like to be able to get to the point where this team makes another team beat them rather than us beating ourselves. But I think that'll come because they've got some pretty good talent on that team.
Yeah, sometimes when you blow a 20-point lead, it's not that you played badly, it's that the other team played well. I think that's what happened in the third quarter, as Pat Riley intimated in his press conference a moment ago. Who else did Sidney Lowe talk about?
Well, Sidney Lowe was glowing in his praise of Charles Oakley. He said that Oakley, in his opinion, is the most valuable player of the Knicks. He said, you take Charles Oakley away, and there are very few people in the league that can do the little things that he does. He says he's sort of like the garbage man. He'll pick up the rebounds, the loose balls. He said the reason we lost this game is we could not keep Oakley off the offensive boards. And that's pretty high praise, and maybe if other coaches feel that way, Oakley might be selected to the All-Star team.
You also told me he said he does things the superstars won't do. I think that's a very, very special way of putting it.
He did say that. He said, you know, Oakley does these things, and he's a star in his own right, but he's not a superstar. And he said, you will not get a superstar to do the things that he does. They won't get floor burns. They won't go up for every offensive rebound. They won't battle for the rebounds off the foul shots. But Charles Oakley does those things. Charles Oakley really does a lot of things that the professionals see, the coaches see, the other players see. It might blend in for the fans. In the box score, it doesn't look that great. But Charles Oakley is a heck of a player.
And if the coaches do see it, maybe that's how Charles Oakley will get his All-Star recognition in February in Minneapolis. Now, we saw a great performance today by Michael Williams, who runs the show from Minnesota. But it was Sidney Lowe saying some nice things about Greg Anthony, you tell me.
Michael Williams also said the same things. Sidney Lowe said that Greg Anthony has always played great defense, and he did that again today. He said, but he really distributed the ball well. He kept it moving, and he also got it into Ewing. He said, as long as you can get into Ewing, if you're the point guard of the Knicks, you're doing a good job. He said he's really improved a lot, and he looks like he's one of the better guards right now. He was really high in his praise of Greg Anthony.
What else happened in there?
Well, I talked to Isiah Ryder because I felt one of the most exciting plays of the game was when Ryder blocked Patrick Ewing's dunk, and I said exactly what happened. You can see it right here. It's just an amazing play. Ryder, who's pretty short, gets up there and really jams it on Ewing, and I said to Ryder, what happens there? He said, sometimes you just feel adrenaline and you make a play like that. You start talking trash. He said, all I was doing is screaming, and Patrick's looking at me screaming, and he's saying, he yelled back at me, but we smiled about it. He said, but Patrick Ewing's an all-star. He said, I know the next time they play me, he's probably going to dunk on me. He said, but it is an incredible feeling to be able to get up there and block Patrick Ewing's dunk. But he was smiling the whole way.
Yeah, what you saw there at the end was Chuck Person, who was on the bench at the time the play ended. He came roaring off the bench to hug the rookie Isiah Ryder, who doesn't use JR very much anymore. Now, looking ahead to Wednesday night's game, you'll be dealing with a locker room that's probably going to have to answer some questions about the value of Dennis Rodman and the baggage that you have to buy into and things like that.
I'll tell you what. I mean, I've always felt this way when I was writing the column for the news. I wrote this. I just don't think that it's worth the problem, and I think that there's serious problems there as well. I mean, sometimes you want the guy to play well, and he might bring some excess baggage to the ballpark, but you know, you got to worry about this guy as an individual. There's some things that he does that are very scary. I mean, I've read some stories and talked to some people in San Antonio. He's getting to the game right before tip-off. He misses practices, misses buses. There's so many times you could turn your head before you start to get a crink in it. And I think he's going to be of lesser value to this team as time goes on, because if you look at his statistics, he's got very high rebounding stats. He doesn't do anything else. I mean, rebounding is the one thing that he does, and that's great. You want somebody to do that, but his points per game are down. He doesn't pass the ball. He's not playing as great a defense as he used to. I mean, I think that's a significant problem there with Dennis Rodman. That's something we'll keep our eye on Wednesday.
Now, we'll keep our eyes on his hair as well. Last time he was here, he was blonde, then he was purple, now he's blue. It's blue. We've confirmed that now. By the way, San Antonio prepping for Wednesday night's meeting with the Knicks by beating Washington today. The Knicks over Minnesota.
Rimology by Shaquille O'Neal. The engineers worked the numbers. They figured and refigured. They said it was indestructible. They said it was Shaq-proof. maybe they should check their math.
For years, I never even thought about it. Guess I just didn't want to.
That was their main concern.
What else were they talking about?
They were talking about Patrick Ewing getting his shot blocked, his dunk blocked by Ryder, or Isiah Ryder. And Patrick said he went out, he took off a little too soon. He was too far away from the basket. But he said JR talked some trash to him afterwards, so he's going to have to see him again.
Curtis, you know, talking about blowing leads, I mean, these guys know, you watch the highlights every night. Teams in this league lead by 20. I don't know what the percentage is of teams that lead by 20 and wind up getting challenged by 5 points, but it's got to be extraordinarily high.
Obviously, it's a hard thing to do. But what you have to do, though, Derek Harper said, is cut a team's head off. When you get up, you really have, you can basically demoralize a team by making a few more baskets. Like after halftime, they're up by 20. 3 quick baskets, and that team probably would be demoralized, and you cut their head off, and then you can move on from there. But the Knicks, again, get a little lackadaisical, and I think guys get a little selfish as well. Guys like Starks and Ewing begin to start trying to pad their scoring, and then that's when the problems come in. They miss a lot, and then the other team comes back, and next thing you know, and it happens quickly, they're right back in the game.
Curtis, I know Pat Riley said there is no point guard controversy, but I am sure that you and other members of the media want to follow up as to what Greg said Saturday and Pat Riley said after what he said.
Yeah. Well, Greg was not available. He was taking a shower and hanging out back there for quite a while. But Derek Harper said it was petty. It didn't have anything to do with him, and he was just going to play the game. Said, I came from Dallas where we never got a win at all, so that's all I'm concerned about is winning.
Well, that was also a point of concern for both point guards today, was a little sloppiness with the ball at one stretch, especially in the third quarter, and a little bit in the first half, too.
Yeah, and when you're the point guard, they want you to be steady, run the team with a solid, steady hand, and to be careful with the ball. But you know, you can't play a perfect game. Greg was really solid. He had no turnovers for a long stretch. And at the end there, when Minnesota started trapping, I think that's when he had his problem.
Now, Curtis, I know the Knicks are enthused about this 5-game winning streak. They're excited that Charles Smith seems to be right around the corner. Pat Riley said no more test games, but what about Wednesday? I asked Charles Oakley about this. How do you view it against San Antonio?
I think it's a significant game. The teams that they played recently have been terrible teams. They've done what they had to do, not very impressively, but they've won the games. And San Antonio beat them down there earlier. They stopped the Knicks' 7-game winning streak to start the season. And so I think the Knicks, with David Robinson coming in, playing very well, it is a test game, so to speak. I mean, they really have to show themselves. They haven't done really well against the quality teams in the league, and this is an opportunity for them to bolster their confidence even further. I'm sure they're feeling good about themselves, but to win against a team that's a pretty good team with a big and capable center would make them feel a lot better about themselves.
All right, that's Curtis Bunn's locker room report, and that'll do it for our game coverage today as the New York Knicks beat the Minnesota Timberwolves, holding on in the fourth quarter, 106-94. Next up for the Knicks, it's the San Antonio Spurs, led by the Admiral. Game Night and Sports Desk begin our coverage at 7. Coming up next,
challenges the shot. Now remember, Miller's already blocked one. He catches that one. Now he's in the package right now. He contests. Now he comes up again. The big man at 6'9" with the reach of a 7'4" player.
30, Billy Owens.
What a future Oliver Miller has in this league.
And what a future this guy has too, Chris Webber as well. That was a good point about Oliver Miller. Staying
longer, they're going to be the Minnesota Timberwolves. Published reports have indicated that if the owners can't work something out with the city of Minneapolis over a $74 million debt on the Target Center, the team might be sold and moved to San Diego or Nashville. While the guys in the suits work on that, the guys in the Minnesota Unis tried to snap the Knicks' 4-game winning streak at Madison Square Garden. Pat Riley and the guys playing host to Minnesota, and they're 4 games ahead of their 60-win pace of a year ago. Second period. Nice ball movement. Patrick Ewing, 2 of his 34. They're up 50-37. Isiah Ryder, an impressive rookie, folks. Watch him go baseline and create with the left hand off the glass. And on the defensive side, it may be the block of the year so far. Patrick Ewing thinks he's got easy pickings. And look at Ryder right in his face to knock that thing away. Want to talk about a great play? Charles Oakley, 18 rebounds on the day. And look at the save. He winds up in the first row. Ball winds up in the hands of John Starks, who feeds Ewing, who cracked the 15,000-point plateau for his career. First Knick to ever do that. New York's won 5 straight. They take it 106-94 over Minnesota. The Knicks will put that 5-game winning streak on the miles an hour. Could be. Look at Washington early. Tom Gugliotta with the jam. These guys have won 3 in a row, but here's some bad news for the Bullets. Rex Chapman having his best year. On the drive, gets the bucket, but comes down awkwardly on the right ankle. It's a dislocation. He's going to be out at least 10 weeks. San Antonio Willie Anderson, what a sweet turnaround on the baseline. They're up by 14. Washington tries to come back. Don McLean, but the worm is right there to knock it away. J.R. Reed, somebody cover him. He's going to throw it down. They're doing all this without David Robinson, who had a sore knee. He sat out his first game in 119. Kerry Cummings filled in the middle and had 21 points. San Antonio cruises 100-87, 6 straight wins for the Spurs. Orlando and Cleveland at Richfield this afternoon. There's Anthony Avent for Orlando, and he's the newest member of the Magic. He was traded for Anthony Cook in a swap of Anthony's. And here's Anferny Hardaway working on Gerald Wilkins, and goes off the glass, cuts the Cleveland lead to 51.
Point in case.
Now this is a big goal. It's 3-1. There's 48.8 seconds to go, and the Rangers make it 4-1. And they now give themselves a 3-goal course. What a pass by Amonte. Zubov doesn't panic. Around and around he goes. Joseph is down, but there's Mike Gardner. He just sweeps the puck in underneath Joseph after he made the first save. Beautiful pass right there. Amonte and Zubov will get the assists. Gardner spins away from Hennigan. Nice play by Hennigan. He's like a football player on the line, spinning away from the
flagrant foul as a modus operandi. I'm going to take one early in the game. I'm going to intimidate anybody from driving to the basket from then on, and obviously did not care about committing flagrant fouls.
That's why, upon further review, the league implemented a point system. A flagrant foul, unnecessary contact, is worth 1 point. A type 2 flagrant foul, one which is even more severe, counts 2.
A flagrant foul, and Lambeer is history.
A total of 6 points merits a 1-game suspension. Each additional point means an additional game.
We have to protect our players from dirty players, from players who play with reckless disregard for the safety of other players.
Here's Dale Davis. Oh, foul from behind.
I think to tell a player what the difference is between making a hard, aggressive play and what's unsportsmanlike and excessive contact is a very thin line right there.
Brian Hill might be more concerned than any other coach in the NBA about the new punitive point system because his star, Shaquille O'Neal, has the dubious distinction of leading the league in flagrant foul points with 3. 3 more and he's gone for a game.
Everyone who knows Shaquille O'Neal knows that he's not a dirty player. I don't have to play dirty. I'm a shot blocker. I'm a power player. I'm a dunker. That's what I do.
Yet at 7'1", 305 pounds, he does it with more force than any other player.
If there's body contact anywhere else along the lines of the two bodies they are coming together, it's only physics that when you come up against his body, you're going to get knocked to the floor.
Physics. If you have a stick and you have a ball, you put the stick in there and you throw the ball at it, the stick's going to fall.
That's the way it goes.
Physics.
I think it's going to take a while for the officials in the NBA, who I think are the best in the world, believe me. It's going to take them a little while to learn his game.
At times, O'Neal has been demonstrative in his displeasure with the officials, but he was thankful when the NBA rescinded this flagrant foul committed on Don McLean. It's 1 of 15 the league has overturned as it reviews every flagrant foul. And though it allows O'Neal to breathe a bit more easy, he says the prospect of suspension will never change his game.
And I like blocking shots hard because I like sending the message. Don't bring stuff in my middle. And I'm blocking shots hard. I'm trying to knock your shot into the 4th row of the upper deck.
And while he adds he would never take any cheap shots at anyone in the process, he believes they take a few cheap shots at him.
You know, when I go for dunks, got guys cutting me off, guys grabbing me in the air. That's the only way to stop me and hurt me.
Before this year, that might have been true. But with the league keeping score on flagrant fouls, O'Neal's just 3 points away from stopping himself. In Orlando, Steve Cyphers, ESPN.
Thank you, Steve. It's hard to feel sorry for Shaquille when you consider that Akeem Olajuwon, here's a 10-year veteran who's having an MVP-like season. He leads the NBA and foul called on him.
It's interesting. Part of the way they both play. You know, it's nothing new that O'Neal's complaining about physical play to the officials. Remember back at LSU, he was doing it even then, and he even gets it mixed up with his teammates in practice. So he's physical all the time when he's playing basketball. Speaking of not getting along with your teammates, a little bit later in the show, we're going to show you that the Pistons are not the only Detroit team that dukes it out during practice. We'll have that and much more on the baseball news as SportsCenter continues.
Herbert and Keith Primo getting involved in this get-together earlier today. No serious injuries, just a whole lot of fun and bonding.
The NHL schedule on a serious note, and also this weekend's All-Star game, the combination of the two will not bring Wayne Gretzky back to Los Angeles for a week, at least the schedule says. When he gets there, like many Southern Californians, Gretzky will have an earthquake-damaged home to tend to. Gretzky's wife phoned to tell him of cracks and furniture damage caused by yesterday's quake. There's no estimate on how much damage to the Gretzky home. Wayne's Kings, their final game before the All-Star break. It's in Dallas against the Stars. Wayne had 2 points on the night. Scary moment, third period. Stars defenseman Jim Johnson shoved headfirst into the boards by Tomas Sandstrom, Yari Curry. Johnson lay motionless for 7 minutes. We can report that he felt no numbness, felt okay when he left, may be released from the hospital tonight. As for the game, Trent Klatt, the backhand, 4-2 Stars. Kings rally, Gretzky the shot, Moog the save, Robitaille on the doorstep, the rebound. It's a one-goal game, but the Stars pull away. Mike McPhee rams home the rebound past Kelly Rudy, who struggled, stopping just 22 of the 27 shots he saw. And Dallas wins by the score of 5-3, snapping a 3-game slide. Rough game, 4 fights, 3 misconducts in this one. Two of the teams that are struggling. As a matter of fact, the teams with the league's 2 lowest point totals meeting, and Ottawa gets a rare win to snap the league's longest winless streak of the season. It was at 13. The overtime goal scored by Sylvain Turgeon.
Danny Sullivan is leaving the IndyCar scene to join up with the good old boys. The